Hello, I am Ram Mohan. I am working as head of electronics and communications engineering section, currently placed at Government Polytechnic, Mahbubnagar. The subject we are dealing with is the electrical and electronics for the first years, and the topic we are looking at is the resistors. The subtopic of this particular lesson is related to the manufacturing of carbon and wire bond resistors and also comparison of the same. Now the objectives of this lesson. On the completion of this class, you will be able to know about the carbon resistors, which are subdivided into carbon composition resistors and carbon film resistors. The carbon resistors, these are made of carbon as the name indicates, and these carbon resistors are of two types. Number one, carbon composition resistors and the carbon film resistors. Let us look into the carbon composition resistors. So we'll be looking at the construction features of the carbon composition resistors. So we'll see how they are manufactured and how do they look like. So these carbon resistors are made of fine powder of carbon or graphite that will be mixed with a resin binder. So it's like a gum sort of thing, resin, and it will be in proper proportions to form into carbon rods. So these things will be drawn into cylindrical shapes of required dimensions and cut to the required values. Let us see how they look like, the construction features. So we'll see, now we are looking at the carbon cylindrical piece which is cut to the required size, and to this one we'll be fixing the leads with the end caps on either side of the carbon cylinder, cut rod rather. So this is one end, this is the other end cap. So we have fixed two nickel end caps on either sides along with the lead to make the connections into the circuit. So a completed resistor with color code and the protection shield will be looking something like this, which is on the right side figure. Okay, you can see that it's a solid rod of carbon granules. Then you have the metal connector and lead out on either sides. There is a insulating case, and on that we have put the color rings or the color codes to indicate the value of the resistor. Now let us further see the construction. So this is one more model where it is fixed. The resistive material is of carbon, and again there are two end electrodes along with leads to connect. There is also the protective coating for the same. So a completed will look like this. Here you can see small difference. In the previous model there are end caps on either sides, but whereas the bottom figure is showing a lead that is drilled into the carbon material or the granules. So this is done at the time of manufacturing itself. So before the carbon is binded into solid, so we'll be placing the lead into the carbon rod. So that is how it is. You can see, notice the change over there, the arrow is showing you. So that is a cut portion. So when you cut across half of that, you can see the lead. So this is the difference between the previous and this one, but both are of carbon composition type. Now let us further see. So they are made of the fine powder of carbon or graphite mixed with a resin binder in proportional to solid fine. Let us see the ranges they are available. Now, these type of carbon composition resistors are available in the ranges of 1 ohm to 20 mega ohms. The power ratings they are available are 1/10 watt, 1/8 of watt, 1/4 watt, which are normally called as quarter watt, then half watt, 1 watt, and 2 watts only. Higher than that, they are not available. Well, so here is the table which is showing the sizes of the different resistors having different wattage. You can just see here. This is 1/8 watt, very small one, less than 1 mm maybe, a quarter watt, okay, then half watt, then you can see 1 watt, then you can see a 2 watt resistor. So they are in proportions, okay. And normally the half watt resistor will be about 9 mm in size. So you can just imagine what will be the size of the 1/8 watt. So it may be hardly 3 mm maybe. Yes. Now let us look into the advantages of the carbon composition resistors. They are small in size. As we have seen, they are available in wide resistance ranges, like we have seen up to few mega ohms, from ohms to mega ohms. They are very cheap. They have good RF performance. Now, what are the disadvantages of the carbon resistors? Now let us see the disadvantages of the carbon resistors. These are of very low precision because they are of carbon material. The accuracy is not there. They get heated up very easily. The resistance value varies with age, that is aging, it's not stable. They are not useful for power levels above 5 watts. So in the previous example we have seen that we have shown only up to 2 watts. That means even 5 watts is very rarely available. Now let us see the carbon film resistors. They are the other type in the carbon only. So these are made by depositing a very thin film of carbon on a ceramic or a glass substrate. These are again of two types. One is thin film resistor, where the coating or the carbon film deposited on the circumference of a ceramic rod or tube is less than 5 micrometers. These things are called as thin film resistors. Then thick film resistors, where the carbon coating or layer deposited on the surface is above 5 micrometers thick. Let us see carbon film resistors. First we will see the thin films. So as you can see that yellow color is a ceramic or a non-conducting glass over which the black layer is the deposited carbon film. Now to this rod we will be connecting the two end caps. There comes one end cap. This is the other end cap along with the lead. So the middle one, yellow color, is the ceramic core, Then you have black line, that is carbon film deposited. Then you have the nickel caps on either side along with the leads. Then over all these things you have a protective lacquer layer that is meant for protection, of which there will be color code painted on. So this is another form of a carbon film resistor. Here if you look at closely, you can compare the middle part, that is the carbon rod where the film is deposited on. Here the deposit is not uniform. It has been cut into a spiral winding over the cylinder. So it represents like a wire wound spirally on the cylinder tube. But this is actually the carbon film there, which is cut so. So this is done like that to vary the or to control the value of resistance that you are going to manufacture. So here what happens, the length will increase, so thereby you will be having the chance to change and fix to your required value. Okay, so again at the ends there are end caps like nickel caps. There is a metal lead and over which there will be protective layer as usual. Okay, so the red arrow is indicating the spirally cut carbon film deposited on the circumference of the cylindrical rod. Now let us see the advantages of the carbon film resistors. They are available in very small values from 1 ohm or even less than 1 ohm to very large mega ohms, few mega ohms. This is possible because we are able to change the length of the carbon film connected between the two end caps. So this we can control or vary. We have flexibility over there. So that is how we could achieve the accuracies better than the carbon rods. So they are smaller in size. They offer very good high frequency performance. They are also very cheap. And let us see few disadvantages of the carbon film resistors. These cannot withstand high temperatures. Why? Because the layer deposited is very thin. These cannot withstand for mechanical shocks also. There is every chance that it is a ceramic rod over which the carbon is deposited, it may break. They are very sensitive to moisture, because when the moisture is there, so that will act to contact between the two side by side spiral windings or the deposited on the cylinder. They are chemically reactive, hence they are unstable. We'll be seeing the wire wound resistors in the next chapter or in our next lesson. Now let us see the summary of the topics we have covered so far. There are various types of resistors like carbon resistors and wire wound resistors. In carbon resistors, we can see other two models. In different resistors, we have seen that they are made of using different materials and techniques again. So they are used in different applications. Now let us see some quiz questions. Which of the following resistors are bigger in size? A. Carbon film, 2. Metal film, 3. Wire wound, D. A and C. Which is the right one? It is wire wound.